Hello, welcome to my channel. I'm Holly. I am a sewing blogger, Instagrammer and newly sewing YouTuber. Today's video will be a pattern cut and sew with me video with a little bit of draping in there as well. I will be showing you from start to finish on how I pattern drafted and sewn this dress that I'm wearing here. Fabric that I'm wearing for this dress and will be sewing with in this video has been gifted to me from Fabric Land. It is in conjunction with my Instagram, but I thought it'd be fun to also create a video and show the process of how I self-drafted and sewn this dress myself. So let's get into it. First we're going to see me draft the pattern for this dress using my block, which will be for the sleeves and the bodice. And then the next section you will see me, I'm draping on the stand, the skirt section. And then finally at the end it will be me sewing the whole dress together and cutting the fabric. And then I will have a little outro and show you all the details of the dress that I'm wearing here. So let's get started. Right, so this is the start of drafting the bodice part of my dress. So I've got my block here, which is roughly my size. So I've just started off by tracing it off onto the pattern paper. Right, so my first job on this bodice is I'm going to take out this shoulder dart because I don't want a dart on my shoulder. I want it one flat piece around the shoulder and into the neckline. To take this out, I probably will end up making this area bigger, but that's sort of the look I want. So that's the first task, is to get rid of this dart. Right, to start the cut and slash technique, because this bomb dart wasn't matching up to here, I've just extended it slightly so both darts come onto the same pivot point on this line. You kind of need the darts to match so you can get the pivot of the cut and slash technique. Right now, so I've cut down this line of the top dart, I've cut down this line of the bottom dart. This is so we can close this dart and move that over at this pivot point here, which will then open up this section. So whenever you close a dart somewhere, there will always be that same space opened up somewhere else. So let me just show you. So we're going to, oh, there we go, pivot this completely shut and line that up. So I'm looking through my viewfinder to see this, not there. There we go. So there we go, we've pivoted and shut the dart over the shoulder seam, and then it has opened up here. So I'm just going to tape and stick this into place. That's the next step, and also going to measure here as well. I've used sellotape this time. I don't normally use sellotape. I always use sort of like masking tape, because then you can like remove it around if you have a problem with the pattern, but I've only got sellotape, so we've gone for that today. So I've taped up this dart from where you can see underneath where the dart was, it was sticking out a bit. So what you want to do, you want to get rid of that excess and have a completely straight line here. For this is going to be a shoulder seam, so you need it completely straight, and then it'll go down, and then you can see this is the points. So you can see where this used to be a straight line, and then you can see how the bottom of the pattern's been manipulated because you've closed this up here. Right, so this is going to be the open part. So I'm just going to put a piece of paper underneath to back this, and it will turn into the pattern. I filled in this part of the pattern now, so there's no longer a gap, and that's fully part of the pattern. I've just squared off the bottom of this part, but once my next stage is basically I'm going to cut this pattern out from fabric, and then I'm going to slightly manipulate and drape it on the stand, because I find it easier to see things on the stand. So I always do part pattern, part draping. So that's the next step. There we go. Right, I've cut out this pattern piece from my pattern, and this is what it looks like. It's still not obviously perfect yet with the fit, so I'm going to next I'm going to drape this on the stand and have a look how it looks on there. Make the back pattern piece, sew it together, try it on, and then go from there. Right, so now it's ready to start the back section of the bodice. So this is my women's block back block. So I've just traced it off. I'm gonna trace off these markings, and because this is pretty much how it is, I'm just gonna add some seam allowance. And because my back of my dress is gonna have a seam up the back with a button, I'm gonna have to add seam allowance and enough for the opening on this side. So I have to cut 2 of these for the back. So I'm really losing the light, you know, it's like 3 o'clock in England and it's already getting very dark. So here's the 2 back pieces cut out. So this is the centre back. I'm going to have a seam up to about here and then an opening to get in and out of the dress. Yes, these are 2 identical pieces. I've cut them as a pair, and now I'm going to attach it all together and drape it on the stand. So I've popped the toil of the top bodice onto the stand. When I put it on before, it needed the dart here. I was trying to get away with having no darts or just having it falling, but it was too baggy around the waist. So it's a bit creased where I've had it folded up for a couple of days. Yes, I've decided to pop the dart here, so it fits. This is it on the stand, so I'm quite happy with that fit. It's not completely snug around the waist, but it's got a little bit of movement. So yes, I'm just going to adapt the pattern just to remind me that it's now got a dart in it, and I'm ready to cut out. That's what she's looking like. Right, now I've got my sleeve made up and I know it's the width that I want. I'm now gonna change the pattern and change the sleeve to have the bottom tie detail. So my seam is on the inside, so I'm just gonna unpick slightly, probably around 1.5 centimeters, open this up so I can make a turn over casing and thread my little tie detail through, but I'll show you how that goes. Right, so I've just unpicked around 2 centimeters here, just on my toile, and I'm going to, because I want my tie detail to be about 1 centimeter wide, I'm first going to make a casing around the bottom of the sleeve. I'm first going to fold over 0.5 centimeter and then a 1 centimeter, and stitch it down to create a casing, and the casing will have an opening here where I can thread my tie detail through. So I'll show you what that looks like next. Right, well, I've made my casing and I've just opened it up here. I need to stitch this so the seam finishes right on the casing, and then I've got a little open hole here ready to put my thread through it so it can come out and tie. Okay, that's I've sewn up the casing and threaded through the little tie. So now I have this really cute draw tie bottom of the sleeve, which I can tie in a little bow. So I think that's worked out really well. So this is just a toile, obviously. So I'm probably going to transfer this onto my pattern and yeah, use it on the final dress. now, so I've cut out all my pattern pieces. I have my front facing, which was cut on the fold. I have my back facings, which was cut as a pair, so I've got 2 of them. I've got my front bodice, which was cut on the fold, so I got 1 piece of them. I've got my back bodice of my dress, which was cut as a pair, so I've got 2 of them. And my 2 sleeves, so I got 2 of them because they're one piece per sleeve. So they're all cut out. So now it's time to sew it all together. Got my main bodice piece cut out now from the fabric. In the middle we have the front and then the 2 back pieces. So first, to attach these together, I'm going to stitch the front to the backs from the side seams using a French seam. For the first construction element of the bodice, I am doing a French seam on the side seams here and on the 2 top shoulder seams. So to start that, I've pinned them wrong sides together. I'm going to do a 1/2 centimetre stitch along these 4 seams, cut it, and then press it the other way around and stitch it down again. So that's what I'm going to do, just so these seams are nice and closed and they're going to look really neat from the inside. So I've attached the front to the back now by these seams. If you can see, I got my French seam there, which is going to be a nice enclosed seam. This is the back. There's the back opening. This is inside out. Okay. And now I just need to, here's the facing. So when it's worn, this is going to obviously be turned in like that. So I'll get a lovely neckline. But my next job is to cut this back a little bit and just snip it so it will sit nice and flat on the curved. If I didn't notch this out, it wouldn't sit curved. So whenever you're doing a neckline, make sure you notch, especially on the really curved sections, otherwise it's not going to sit flat. My finished bodice without the arms on the stand, so you can see what it looks like. I've pressed the neckline nice and flat, so that's sitting lovely. I'm really happy about that. The darts are looking good, which you can't see because of the fabric, but you might be able to just see it there. They're looking good. If I just turn it round, I've stay stitched around the armhole just to try and not let it stretch when I attach the arm. And we run down to the side seam, which is looking nice and flat as well, which is a French seam, so that's all enclosed, no raw edges, which looks lovely. That's worked well. And then this is the back of the bodice, also sitting and holding nice and flat, which I'm happy about. I've added a little silver button here to get in and out. My loop I made was a little bit big, so I had to move the button over a little bit, but it's okay, it's okay. And I got the open hole to get in and out of the dress there, which again is sitting nice and flat. So that is the bodice front on the stand. Now I'm going to add the sleeves onto it. These are my 2 sleeves. I have sewn them together again using a French seam, so there's no raw edges. This is quite a lightweight cotton, so I got away with doing a small French seam and it wasn't too bulky, so that's good. I've stay stitched around the armholes just to ensure there's no stretching. I doubt there will be, but I still want to ruin it. I'd rather do a little bit of stay stitching before I attach them to the bodice. And I've hemmed them with my with my hem, which with the little gathered section, so I just need to put the gathered string through once they're attached. They're looking good, so they are ready to go. Both sleeves sewn on. Yeah, it's looking really great. I'm really happy about it. So here we go, just a normal fitting sleeve. So yeah, it's looking really good. Really happy. So now is next to work on the skirt half of the dress. But yeah, so far so good. Ooh. Right, I've got my fabric here that I've gathered along the top because I know that's the length I want for my skirt, and now I'm going to start draping. Just going to pull the gathering along here to make this match the waistline. And do the same side. Right, so I'm pin this into place. So roughly that's how wide we need our waist. And now it's working out the length. Let's pin up the arm. Right, now to cut roughly where I think I want the skirt to be. Really good. Right, there we go. Half got our draped skirt almost there. Now the next step I'm going to do, I'm going to take this off from the stand. I'm going to attach this, like secure the gathering. I'm going to attach it to the top once I'm going to do the back as well. I'm going to gather another section of fabric and do the same for the back. Right, now we're going to drape the back of the skirt. To start with, I've got my fabric. I'm doing this so I don't have to make a pattern just for a gathered section of the skirt. I find it easier to drape on a stand. So I've got my section of fabric. I know roughly that I want about 50 centimetres gathered around the 38 centimetre back section. So I've gathered that. I'm going to slightly pull the gathers in and drape it along here to the side seam. So I want a side seam down the side of the skirt. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do now. So I'm just going to pull the gathering. Attach this on this side at the side seam, where always remembering your seam allowance. So when you drape on the stand like this with your fabric, always allow 1 or 2 centimetre seam allowance. Pinning it on the area where this is going to sit, so right high up on the waist. Pinning it all around as if it's going to be stitched into there. So next I'm going to cut the fabric to the length a little bit longer. I always overcut because I'm having like a frill on the bottom of this. So yeah, I want it to be a little bit longer than I've always got. It's always better to cut off a little bit more than a little bit less. I'm just going to measure from, there we go, that's where that side seam will eventually attach. So I'm just going to measure off the front that I've done, which is around there. And now I'm just going to cut all around. Straight, hopefully. Right, that's not exactly straight, but it's fine. So here we go, got that. I'm just going to cut down the side seam here to meet in this area. So I'm going to do a notch here to know this is where the side seam is going to run down. There we go, done that. So right, my skirt's a lot longer than I want it to be, but once I get it on the table I can cut it and straighten it off, but it's so much easier just to see what the skirt's going to look like on the stand. So as you've seen, the whole process of the dress being created, I thought let's go quickly through some of the details while I'm wearing the dress. So as you can see here, and I showed you, I've got a sort of quite a high rounded neckline, which sits lovely and flatly due to the facing, which does sort of come around sort of this area in the inside, so that sits nicely and flat. And then I have the long sleeves to the dress here, and I also have this tie gather detail at the cuff, which I can then pull in tighter if I wanted more of a puffy sort of look. Let me stand up and show you. So here is the bodice. So this is where the waistline fits me, and then as into the skirt is gathered section with the dart that runs up here. And then on the back, there you can see the opening to the back dress, and then a buttonhole clasp here with a button, with a loop. Yeah, so, and then this goes down, and then got a bit more of another gathered section here. Let me just, I can stand back and show you. So here we go. This is the dress. If you're interested in how I styled the dress, those images are over on my Instagram, which is Holly_Dennett, my name, like it is on YouTube. And also I have a IGTV video sort of talking through what the fabric and my sketches of the dress that I wanted to make, so that might interest you as well. I'll leave that linked below in the description box. If you enjoyed today's video, make sure you subscribe and give it a thumbs up so my channel can grow and I can make more videos like this. But I will see you again soon. Bye.